Okay.
Welcome back to the channel, folks. So today we are going to take a look at the Colt Delta Elite in 10 millimeter. This is a famous, dare I say, infamous uh, Colt, or 1911. I believe it was the first 1911 first chambered in 10 millimeter, and I believe it was the second pistol ever chambered in 10 millimeter. Of course, the Bren 10 was the first, and I think pretty sure Colt then said, wow, this is a fantastic round, jumped on it, started making the Delta Elite. This is the latest iteration of the Delta Elite, and I gotta say, it's great, particularly this example. Just a few minor things with this. If you're familiar with the channel, if not, get familiar with it. Go back and watch my old videos. But I have a lot of issues with Colt. I love Colts. I think they're iconic. I think they're great, but man, does their QC suck sometimes. And this was the first one. At the time of making this video, I think I own 7 or 8. I'm not sure. 7? Wait. I don't know. 7 or 8 Colt 1911s in 45, in 10 millimeter, in 38 Super. And every single one of them has had an issue, to include this one. However, I gotta say, this is the nicest one. Just very small issues with this one, where some of them have a lot. So let's just take an overall look at the pistol. Of course, this is in stainless steel. I believe this is the only way they offer it nowadays is in stainless steel. It's got Novak, not Novak style, actual real Novak. See that there? Novak 3-dot white 3-dot sights. It has the angled slide striations only on the back. It says Delta Elite right there with the Delta Elite triangle, which is also in the grips. It is deeply undercut on the trigger guard. No front checkering, on the front strap checkering on the grip, and just the vertical lines on the mainspring housing, which is plastic, by the way. So that's a negative. Extended thumb safety, single-sided, standard slide stop slide release. It's lowered, flared, and relieved in the front there. Ejection port. So that's very cool. It's got the trigger, standard 1911 trigger. I believe it's aluminum with the 3 holes in it. It is not wide like the National Match triggers, which some of my guns have. Extended beaver tail grip safety, I forget what they call that. It's not a commander hammer. It's just the, modern day round hammer. Commander's a little bit different. Standard mag release. It does only come with 1 mag, and that is one of the things that I keep hitting Colt on. For as expensive as their pistols are, come with 1 mag. That's crazy. So you see it's matte finished on top and bottom. It's like a light brushed on the sides there, the old slab sides. Of course, it says Colt government model right there. This is actually, whoever QC'd this one did a pretty good job. Almost there. It's almost there. This one's like 98%, I think. So let me go over what bothers me about this Colt. One of the things that bothers me, 1 magazine. And that bothers me about all the Colts. A lot of companies, or I shouldn't say a lot, but several companies are doing that crap nowadays, just being chintzy with the mags. 1 mag, that sucks. Plastic mainspring housing, I don't understand that. I know it's cost cutting. And on this one in particular, there is, let's see if we can see them. I'm going to zoom in. See those 2 spots right there? Right there in the finish. You can see them. There we go, right there. 2 spots right there. That's how it came from the factory. And it's not the first Colt that I've had with finish issues. Go check out some of my older videos. I have several of them. But that's the only two spots, which every time I order a Colt, I hold my breath when I get to the gun store and open it. So when it was sitting in the box, it was like this. I looked, felt the safety. I'm like, oh, good. There's no play down. Matter of fact, I don't even believe I changed the spring in this to a Wilson Combat. I might have, but I don't remember. This is very positive. No movement down. That's good. I said, okay, it is a Series 80, by the way. And if you don't know what that is, that means it has a firing pin safety. See right there? So it has to lift. See that little lever in there? It has to lift that little lever up, hitting this plunger, pushing it out of the way, which allows the firing pin to move forward and strike the primer and fire the round. Now, Series 80s triggers generally, not genuinely, but generally they suck. And I have another Delta Elite that we're going to see on the channel that it's a Series 80s trigger that legends are made of. It sucks that bad. This one's actually real good, really good. When I pulled the trigger on this one, I was like, wow. A little bit of take up there. It's really not bad. I was actually surprised. I was like, wait a minute, this is a Series 80? So this one was done right. I'm telling you, this gun was done right with the exception of this little stuff right there, which other companies would say blim and sell it as a blim. Because look at that. You couldn't go back and then just hit that with the polishing wheel or whatever it is you do to fix it up. Colt, come on, man. I just... Okay, so let's do some of the checks we do on a basic checks we do when I'm purchasing a 1911. Okay, first I press down on the barrel hood, see if there's any movement downward. That checks the fit and the accuracy of the barrel and the link. No movement on there, so that's good. The thumb safety is very positive on and off, nice clicks, and there is no downward movement. If there is, it's just a tiny bit. That's really acceptable. Check the function of the thumb safety. Does it work? Yep, it sure does. Grip safety. We check, does it work? Yes, it does. We also check the engagement of the grip safety. It is my opinion that 50 to 60%, you should disengage the grip safety. So what you do is you press on the trigger here and then start pressing the grip safety with the thumb safety off, start pressing the grip safety forward, and it should fall. Now that's not bad right there. That's where it disengages right there. So you got a whole maybe 1/16, 1/8 of an inch to play with there. That's probably 70% or so. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Does it disengage? It does. We also push forward on the hammer to see if the hammer falls, because that indicates that there's poor sear engagement. Guys, the recoil spring on this bad boy is really stiff, really, really heavy. Now it's got that Colt proprietary like 2-spring thing going on. However, see, I have a Colt trophy, Gold Cup Trophy Light in 45 ACP. It's got 2 recoil springs in it, a standard one and then a smaller one that nestles inside that one that comes all the way out to the end of the gun. These are a little different. This has a standard recoil spring, but then the secondary one only goes to about here. And that's probably to dampen the frame, the slide from slamming into the frame, help dampen that. By the way, this has a plastic guide rod in it with a sheet metal little clip around it, kind of, and they do that so when they get beat up, they take the brunt of it, and then it's an easy piece to replace. They probably, in my opinion, could have gone with a metal one, and we could have put Wilson Combat shock buffs or something in it. I don't know. But this, guys, this is... I was actually shocked by this Colt. When I first took it out, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Is this one perfect? And then I saw those 2 little dings right there. So I would say it's 98% perfect. Depending on how it shoots on the range, I would say it's This is what Colt should do. This was a good one. Okay, so let's get a weight and then the trigger pull. Let's get a weight of this bad boy. All right, got the pistol. 35.8 and the factory supplied magazine. 38.12. 38.12 ounces. So pretty standard on the weight, especially for a stainless steel gun. Now let's check the trigger pull. Now, again, 1911 trigger pulls, the weight of them, you can have a 5-pound trigger that breaks like a glass rod and it's still good. But we're going to check how good this one is. 566. Okay. Let me restart. 474. Okay. Let me restart that one. And 410. So if you average those together, it's probably around 4 3/4, 4.5, you know, but it breaks really nice. So let's see. There's just a tiny bit of take up there. Not a lot of take up. Tiny bit of take up, and then it's actually really good. So let's take this Colt Delta Elite out to the range and see how it shoots. All right, folks. So we find ourselves back out on the range, this time with the Colt Delta Elite in 10 millimeter. And we have just some standard Winchester white box target in practice, 180 grain. We got our steel down there, 25 yards. And let's just, you know what? Let's just see how it shoots, man. Get my ears in here. Oh, okay. Here we go. Colt. Come on now, Colt. Look at that. All right, folks, we've come to the accuracy portion of this review. We got the Colt Delta Elite. I got 3 rounds of the Winchester white box. If you're not familiar with how this goes, I'm going to go back 7 yards. I'm going to fire 3 rounds. Let's do that shoot and see. It's a 2-inch shoot and see. Fire 3 rounds there. We're going to see what kind of accuracy we can get out of this sucker. So let's do that. Okay. Put my ears in. All right, not bad, not bad. Shooting a little bit right. So I was aiming there, and my group, I know it's the gun because the group is consistently right. I was aiming dead center. But that's not bad. Not for 7 yards. I can drift that rear sight over. I'll do that later, though. I'm not messing with it now. So let's go back and get the final thoughts. Okay, folks, final thoughts on the Colt Delta Elite in 10 millimeter. I think this one's pretty good, actually. If you watch my channel, if you're familiar with it, I'm up to, I think 7, maybe 8 Colt 1911s in 10 millimeter, 38 Super, 45. This one is probably the best one so far as QC issues go, which I always have with Colts, man. As discussed in the tabletop, the real crappy things is, again, one magazine. Way to go, Colt. It looked like it shot a little bit right, but that could have been with that Winchester ammo. It didn't feel very powerful. And again, as discussed in the tabletop, this is a very, very stiff recoil spring to handle the really hot 10 millimeter loads, so it doesn't beat the gun up. The standard issues really that I have with Colt is usually fit and finish. That's safety. That's fit perfectly. The trigger, again, as discussed in the tabletop, the trigger is actually pretty good in this one. It's a Series 80, so it's got to push up that plunger. I got another Series 80. Trigger is pretty much what you come to expect on a Series 80. But this one is actually really good. Whoever put this one together did really well. Only complaints, again, is two little, I can't see them, I showed them in the tabletop, two little scuffs there on the back of the slide, which it should never leave the factory like that. I saw that the minute I picked it up and flipped the pistol over. So you're telling me they didn't see that at the factory? Or why don't you keep your guns taped up the whole way? Or do something, Colt. Come on. Now, a lot of people, side note here, a lot of people on the internet will shit all over PSA. But you know what PSA does do? If they see some shit like that, they'll sell it as blim. They'll knock 50, 100 bucks off. That's definitely blim right there, those two scratches. Or at the end of QC, Colt, you can't go back and buff those. I mean, this is just wire wheeled. It looks like it's pretty, it's not super shiny. You couldn't fix that before it left. So it's kind of pretty much standard. I would say out of all the Colts I bought so far, this one is probably 99%. Plastic mainspring housing, that's another complaint, but that's standard on there. Expected that. The trigger's actually really good. The thumb safety is actually very positive and good. No complaints there. You did see it did have a bobble out on the range. It failed to eject one round. But again, I got to go through. This is a pretty new gun. I got to go through and try a bunch of different ammo, especially really heavy loads. That Winchester stuff felt kind of light. And as a lot of you 10 millimeter fans know, nowadays, the companies, ammo companies load their 10 millimeter, basically to 40 Smith & Wesson specs. So it might have trouble overcoming the recoil spring on this one. But other than that, guys, I got no complaints. Again, shoots a little bit right, as you saw. I think I mentioned that. However, it could be the ammo. So I got to try different types of ammo. I got several brands, factory of 10 mil will shoot out of this before I go adjusting sights. But if I have to, easily adjustable right there. So yeah, there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time.